I was wondering if you was on workman comp, can you get fired from your job?
You know, that's something I've wondered about too, Dorothy. That's a good question. You're out on injured on workers' compensation. Can your boss call up and say, "Don't come back, we're firing you"?
Well, the beginning of that conversation is this. Alabama's a hire at will, fire at will state, which means if you're hired at will, you can be fired at will for good cause, bad cause, or no cause at all.
We just want to fire you.
But the reverse of that's also true. You can quit and leave for good cause, bad cause, and no cause at all. There's nothing they can do to you. But there are exceptions, and discrimination is one of the exceptions, but also retaliatory discharge is in the Workers' Compensation Act. The employer cannot fire the injured employee solely on the basis of retaliating against them from getting hurt. In other words, you got hurt on our job, you're going to mess up our insurance rates or whatever, we're going to fire you. If the sole reason they're firing is to retaliate for them getting hurt on the job and having to pay benefits, it's a separate cause of action called retaliatory discharge where you can receive general damages and you're not limited to compensation benefits.
I would assume that employers know they can't fire people for that, but do you hear from people once in a while?
Oh,
that
yeah.
got
They
fired
doctor the
because of
file, though, don't they, Steve?
Well,
They'll come up with another reason.
Yeah,
that's what I mean.
They're pretty savvy. I mean, they know that, and so they come up. But then the question is that a pretext? That's the second step. If you get hurt, you get fired, you know, that raises a question.
Yeah.
Then they come in and say, well, this or this or this. Well, sometimes it's a pretext. Sometimes you look at the documents, you look at the file, and what they're saying is not true.
If they say, we're firing you, you're injured, and we're sorry you're injured, but we're firing you because you were late to work a bunch of times, and you go back and look at the record and they weren't ever late for
let's
work.
make it real clear.
Okay.
Let's make it real clear. They get hurt, they fire, and they say, well, it's poor work performance. And you look at the past 10 years, and they've gotten A's across the board. I mean, they've gotten raises, and
annual
everything's perfect.
Good.
And there's no evidence of any poor work performance at all.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it just doesn't add up. So it's a pretext. So you have to look behind that to see if it's a legitimate reason.